men down, bullies, blow the men down.
You mean way, blow the men down.
Blow the men down, bullies, blow him away.
Give me some time to blow the men down.
Hello everybody, and thank you once again for tuning in to Longshot Wargaming. Today our game takes us to the Celtic Sea, where the great European powers fight for naval supremacy. Our battle today exists only in theory, and is historical only in character. Today we pit two mighty ships of the line against one another. These two ships would go down in history for their parts in pivotal naval battles. The HMS Victory for her actions at Trafalgar, and the L'Orient for her spectacular demise at the Battle of the Nile. However, these ships would never meet on the contested seas, leaving one to wonder, which great ship and crew would reign supreme? Today, we answer that question. For this game, we'll be using the Black Seas rule set published by Warlord Games. The French fleet is anchored by the L'Orient, an 118-gun ship of the line. She is supported by a fifth-rate frigate and 4 brigs. The British fleet will center around the HMS Victory, a 104-gun ship of the line. She will be supported by 2 fifth-rate frigates and 2 brigs. Hey Rob, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're playing Black Seas today, and you will be commanding the La Marine. La Marine. My French isn't very good.
Me neither.
So so far we've already rolled for wind direction.
Yes.
And it basically is going perpendicular to the way your fleet is set up right now. So, 2 things. First, how do you see the wind direction as it stands right now affecting kind of your general idea of how you're going to move forward?
So I think it's going to really be kind of like a nice meeting engagement. We're going to hit each other about the same time because it looks like we're sailing the same angle and everything. So insofar as that, I think we're going to be just kind of duking it out, and it'll be kind of interesting because it looks like, unless something happens, I don't know what his plans are, but it looks like we're probably going to be hitting each other and crossing paths, and then it'll probably kind of devolve down towards the left side of the table. Yeah. We'll probably be kind of circling around, and we'll see how the furball breaks up down there.
Yeah, so sure. So that being said, is there any? It'll probably be chaotic. Is there any kind of general formation or anything generally that you want to do with your ships in order to maximize your firepower?
So I admittedly am a bit weak when it comes to naval warfare strategy. I've mostly studied land and aerospace combat. So insofar as strategy for this, basically my game plan is to use my light, faster ships to try and kind of work together, and I'm hoping to pull his units apart, right? I'm hoping that either he'll try and chase them down and pursue them and something like that, and then they can try and focus fire. So I'm going to try and maximize, like numerical superiority. So I want to try and get 3 ships on 1 ship at a time. And I'm hoping they'll pull some forces away. And then my first rate and the other larger ship, I don't recall what it is, the frigate. Yes, I'm hoping that those 2 can then work together.
Gotcha. Sounds good, man. All right, well, let's get this thing going and see what happens.
Let's do it.
Free advertising.
Commodore Rick, today you are a gentleman of the Royal Navy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Playing Black Seas. That's kind of cool. So we set. You're in your deployment zone right now. The wind direction is perpendicular to how you're set up. How do you see the wind direction affecting your overall plan?
It works out for me now. I'm just going to try to go slow at first. If he keeps going into the wind, then I can kind of turn and be behind him in a way.
Gotcha. Any formation, any particular way you intend to use a certain variety of ship? What are you thinking?
I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing, so I broke them up into 2 formations.
Famous words of Admiral Nelson himself.
Exactly. I have no clue what I'm doing. I broke them into 2 formations, and I'm hoping just to get in between his and just mix it up.
Break it up.
Yeah, break up his formation, just mix it up.
Gotcha. All right, man.
Up close.
Sounds good. We'll see how it all plays out.
Cool.
See you. The sky is clear and the seas are calm. The oak beams creak as the ships of the Royal Navy contingent glide in unison through their southern waters. Expecting a coming fight, the well-drilled sailors are at a state of alert. The smaller ships fall in beside the mighty and revered HMS Victory. Her name is evidence of her designed purpose, to dispose of enemy ships. On the distant and hazy horizon line, the watchman spots several ships. The captain orders the men to the gun positions.
Make ready.
Some distance away, the French naval contingent makes ready for an engagement. The heavily armed L'Orient leads the small fleet. During the initial contact phase, the wind is steady and out of the east, offering neither commander a particular advantage. Both fleets move forward to engage at full sail. The British commander splits his forces into two, leaving the Victory with a fifth rate. Both parties move forward and slightly to port. The French fleet is kept intact with the brigs pushed to the front. They also continue to advance forward and slightly to starboard. Both commanders are jockeying for the first full broadside positioning that will allow maximum firepower. As the fleets near one another, the ships are ordered to battle sail in order to reduce speed. The men of both fleets wait anxiously as the fleets come into range. The peace of the morning is broken when a British brig is brought into firing position. A full broadside is ordered. The French fifth rate sustains damage and accepts the first casualties of the engagement. The more heavily armed British frigate sails into position next and takes aim at a French brig. The small two-masted ship sustains serious damage but is not out of the fight. The French frigate immediately responds with a full broadside. The British frigate sustains serious damage and is lit ablaze. After the initial contact, the French fleet is positioned well in order to leverage the firepower of the L'Orient and the combined firepower of the brigs. The British fleet is centered in the engagement area, but has not yet brought the mighty guns of the Victory to bear. In the chaos of the engagement, the center French frigate fires a broadside and is met with overwhelming return fire. The captain orders the men to strike the colors and abandon ship. The British commander uses the initiative change to approach with the yet untested frigate. The frigate glides into a firing position and takes aim at the L'Orient. With a lucky critical hit, the mighty first rate is set ablaze. Showing she is not out of the fight, the L'Orient fires all of her starboard guns at the British brig. The small combatant is immediately set on fire and would quickly sink as a result. The French brig force retaliates with consistent and accurate volleys of fire aimed at the Victory. After 3 direct hits, she is also set ablaze. The fire is quickly extinguished by the well-trained and confident British sailors manning the flagship. In a display of slightly less competent seamanship, one of the British frigates is sailed into a brig. The collision causes serious damage to the smaller ship. With his flagship engulfed in fire, the French commander sails her away from the engagement area to focus on damage control. He now leverages the combined firepower of his brig force and begins to chase down the Victory. Every opportunity that presents itself, the brigs fire at anything with a Union Jack. The engagement becomes circular as the combatants chase one another at the mercy of the wind. The situation on the L'Orient begins to worsen. The crew remains unable to put out the blazing inferno. The ship begins to take serious and crippling damage. Like sharks attracted to blood in the water, the British ships converge on the crippled L'Orient. First on the scene is a British frigate who lobs a broadside into the fire-draped vessel. With her supporting brigs too far away to defend her, she is left to accept the punishment alone. Finally, the Victory is in position to deliver what she suspects will be a death blow. From a distance away, the Victory unleashes a devastating broadside into the L'Orient. The damage is irreversible. In an act of desperate defiance, the French brigs fire several long-range shots at the Victory, causing some damage. After some time, the L'Orient would succumb to the fire and find her way to the bottom. With their flagship lost, the brigs decide to cut and run and live to fight another day. Today, the British fleet is victorious.
Rick, the king is pleased. You've achieved a naval victory.
Yeah.
The wind, I don't see being a great factor. It never changed through the game. What would you attribute your victory to?
I'm not 100% sure.
and the words of the great Admiral Nelson himself. Who knows?
Lucky dice roll. I tried to take the wind into advantage, but I don't know.
How about the crew of the Victory in putting out those fires? What would you say to them?
Yeah, that definitely helped.
Two fires?
Yeah, 2 fires put out. Kept her in the game. Or else
To the
I would
end.
have been on 2 ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well. Congratulations. You have been promoted to the rank of Commodore.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
So says the king. All right. All right, you lost, right?
I did.
Did you lose?
No, I won. It was spectacular.
Oh man, how about the victory? Huh?
Right?
I don't know. He had more ships than 2.
I mean, I did, but I lost the ones that mattered.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Rob, man. We had I wouldn't call it a catastrophic French defeat, but it was definitely
a
French
defeat. It was a defeat.
Yeah, it was a defeat. So the wind, it didn't change throughout the game. I don't know if that would be a significant driver of your defeat. What?
I wouldn't say it was.
What was the problem?
I think the issue was when you look back to the beginning when I said I had a plan for my brigs, right? I did, but the problem was, as I think I expected too much from the lighter ships versus, my first-rate and fifth-rate ships. That's really where the majority of the firepower comes from. Mm-hmm. And I think not having a defined plan for them really kind of punished me later on. As the viewers will see, the brigs, they did exactly what I wanted them to do. So I have no issues there. Basically all of them made it to the end of the battle. Mm-hmm. But the issue was not having a plan for your main ships where all your firepower resides. When you go into a battle without a plan, you can't expect much. So, the fellow admiral, he had a better plan for it, and so when they were kind of caught off, isolated, it just went downhill for them.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the crew of that frigate.
If I had my way, they would be executed for cowardice and desertion.
Very well. All right, man. Well, it was a good game.
It was a good game.
Yeah,
it was a good game.
All right.
Just not my favorite.
Yeah, I get you.